Hang on now. Hang on, we're running long. Important coffee talk with Condon downstairs. So set me back a little bit. I had the countdown going on in my head. I had the timer in my head. I was having too much fun. All right. 6:04, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you, JP producing, back in the saddle.
Yeah.
And we are ready to rock and roll your Thursday show here. We are starting you off at 73 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Busy Thursday. We're going to talk a little education. We're going to talk a little bit about band uniforms and a fundraiser coming up. That's all in the show. David Cresson from LCA, Louisiana Chemical Association, going to hop on board. I want to pick up the conversation about Cancer Alley, because apparently there's numbers that refute the narrative, and I want to dig into it. That's in the 8 o'clock hour. Barry Erwin from gotta break that habit. Leaders for a Better Louisiana. I was about to say cable. Leaders for a Better Louisiana beginning in the 7 o'clock hour. We got Crimestoppers. We got Cup of Tech Gumbo. We got it all coming your way. But we start off with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
As LSU searches for its next president, they can remove Congresswoman Julia Letlow's name from the running. She announced this yesterday morning on my show that while she's humbled by the interest and has a love of education, she feels she can best serve Louisiana from our nation's capital.
Number 4.
President Donald Trump suggested Wednesday that New Orleans could be his next target for deploying the National Guard to fight crime, potentially expanding the number of cities around the nation where he may send federal law enforcement. Trump said he could get New Orleans cleaned up much faster than he did D.C.
Number 3.
LSU has launched its Energy Institute, an interdisciplinary research hub aimed at strengthening the university's leadership and impact in energy research, natural resource management, and innovation. The institute is part of the Scholarship First agenda, which identifies energy as one of 5 core research priorities critical to Louisiana and the nation. It also builds on the work of the Institute for Energy Innovation, the Center for Energy Studies, the Louisiana Geological Survey, and the LSU-led fuel team. I was grabbing this story from the Daily Report, by the way.
Number 2.
Federal and state officials yesterday unveiled an immigrant detention center called Camp 47 in Angola yesterday. Governor Landry said there were 51 criminal and illegal aliens as of Wednesday afternoon. Another 208 are going to be moved in by the end of this month.
Number 1.
Looking a lot more imminent, like we are going to have Gabrielle on the radar very, very soon. Heading out to the Atlantic. Showers and thunderstorms associated with a tropical wave located over the eastern tropical Atlantic, several hundred miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands, have become a little more concentrated during the past several hours. Where we stand right now, 40% chance that we see Gabrielle over the next 48 hours, 80% chance over the next 7 days. What you got, JP?
Well, yesterday, the White House confirmed that President Trump will speak with President Zelensky today when the latter is in Paris at a meeting of European leaders.
Okay. All right. I mean, more talks. Awesome stuff. Good stuff. Keep us all at arm's length. That's cool. No, it's good. More talks.
No problem, right?
Yeah. Just keep it going.
Yeah. Hopefully we see some movement.
Will we?
I don't know. Besides
Whatever.
just tea time talks.
Whatever. Tea time TEA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because with Donald Trump, I mean, it's not TEA, it's TEE.
Mm.
That's what they need to do. They need to move this over to the golf course.
There we go.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? I drive this one further than you. You knock your off.
Hey.
Huh?
There we go.
That's where you get business
Then we
done.
see
You
progress.
get business done on the golf course.
That's what I'm talking
You
about.
don't sit in like little European furniture that you're 8 times too big for.
Yep. Mm.
That's not a Donald Trump is fat joke. That's an all Americans are fat joke.
Yeah.
That's an I'm fat joke.
Pleasantly plump. Hey, there's no Powerball winner last night.
Let's go.
The next drawing is Saturday, this time for roughly $1.7 billion.
Billion. I can't wait to read the breakdown of the takeaway when you get the cash lump sum.
Yeah.
We figured this out yesterday, JP, while you were out. If you took the cash, if you would have won last night,
right,
and the cash lump sum would have knocked it down to $589 million. So right off the block, right at the blocks, you're taking less than 50%. And then after 217 million of taxes, your take home was going to be 381. So $1.3 billion, you lose $1 billion before you're walking out the door.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what this is going to be on this level here because, it'll probably bump up to around that 380, whatever is probably going to double.
Yeah.
But
man, yeah, still, nonetheless. Ooh,
yeah.
Man.
1.7 billion overall, though.
Wow.
If it makes it tempting to take the annuity. Hey, you know what I did yesterday?
What did you do?
I bought a Powerball ticket on Tuesday.
Okay.
And then I went down this TikTok rabbit hole of The Simpsons predicting the future.
No way.
And apparently there was an episode where they predicted the Powerball, but the internet kept changing the date on what date of the Powerball it was. Oh. And I bought into it, and I went back. I bought a second ticket.
Oh, come on.
Because of The Simpsons. The Simpsons predict everything.
They do. Like, scary.
Right.
And if you don't know about this, anyone listening.
No, The Simpsons predicting the future. There's a lot of them that are like minor coincidental, but if you didn't buy in after Donald Trump coming down the escalator.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's the one that sold me.
Even the sign falling perfectly. The guy holding the sign.
Yeah, the little kid. The little kid is like under the glass part. And the sign falls. It's synced up perfectly.
Insane.
Yeah. So I took the Simpsons numbers and I didn't win.
Oh, man.
Yep.
In other news, ratings are in, and the first weekend and the first weekend of college football was huge. Texas versus Ohio State drew 16.6 million viewers. 10.8 million watched the Notre Dame and Miami. 10.7 million saw Alabama burn, and 10.4 million were tuned in for LSU Clemson.
Yep.
Man,
yep.
Massive numbers.
Yeah.
All the way around.
It's a great first weekend. College football has got the first week. If they could fix week 0 or eliminate week 0, week 1 is perfect. It's spaced out perfectly. You have wonderful matchups across the board, couple of upsets. I mean, it played out the college football did about as well as the NFL would do for week 1.
Fantastic numbers. Wow.
Yep. We're at coming up on 612 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Before we take our first break, got to remind you about the folks over at Neurojust. Neurojust.com is the website. There are, how do I address this? Okay, let me just back it up. I want to save the person's name. Got an email from a buddy of mine. Well, not a buddy of mine. Somebody who has listened to the show for a long time, and I've met once or twice. And just wanted to let me know that he had tried TMS before, and it was a life changer. It wasn't here where he tried TMS. It was in another city, and it was a few years ago. So he didn't go to Neurojust, but he used the procedure. He used the therapy. TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation, is what it stands for. If you battle with anxiety and depression, you know it's a constant fight or flight issue, right? It's a constant battle, and that battle is exhausting. And that level of exhaustion can't be quantified. TMS takes those choppy seas, those heavy waves inside your head, and just smooths them on out. It's FDA approved. It's non-invasive. There are no side effects. If the sit-down talk therapy isn't taken, if the prescription meds are wearing off, give Neurojust a try. Neurojust, neurojust.com. Sports is next. Did you get the Julia Letlow thing that I... They're in today's folder. Same, yeah, Brian Kelly. BK is Brian Kelly. LSU's head coach for the sports segment. Oh, no, I named him. So, I just named a different. Yeah. You're good. Okay, so I need you to take the Letlow cut, and it's a full, minute 8 or something. That last part, I need you to copy it and paste it into a second piece because I'm going to play back the last part again. I'll show you. Do what? Yeah. Talk 1073 is your new home for Ken Trahan's original prep football report. Get live in-game updates, a full statewide scoreboard, check-ins with correspondents from every corner of the state, and more. Friday nights this fall from 6 to 11 p.m. All starts this Friday, September 5th on Talk 1073 FM. In fact, programming note, we're going to have Ken Trahan with us tomorrow morning, I believe, 8:15. It's 6:16 at Talk 1073 FM, WBRP. It is sports time. LSU head coach Brian Kelly was on the SEC coaches teleconference yesterday. Man, I swear, there is so much availability when it comes to media outlets being able to just churn out content during football season. I mean, it's literally, well, it's almost every day. It's you walk into a Monday with the post-game press conference from the game, and then you walk into Tuesday with the recap of Monday's press conference. Tuesday, you got a deal, and then Wednesday, you got the coaches teleconference where everybody from the Southeastern Conference hops on board, and then you get the Brian Kelly show on Thursday. I mean, that is an abundance of content. So, LSU head coach Brian Kelly was on the coaches teleconference yesterday. A home opener is coming up on Saturday. He's, of course, looking forward to it.
We're excited about playing at home, certainly playing in Death Valley for the first time this year. We have some new players that haven't had that opportunity. So you can imagine after the success of last weekend, coupled with playing at home, our kids are really excited about that opportunity. So we went back to practice, focused in on the things that we needed to get better from last week, and want to continue this mindset of 1-0.
All right. What I took away from that is during the Clemson game, things were working and the rotations didn't get expanded that far. You will see many, many, many more players this week. Not garbage time players, but you will see many more players this week on the field. Rotations will get deeper. Legs will stay fresher. More guys will get more live action. You're out there against a top 10 team. You've got what's working. You stick with what's working. Back in Monday's press conference, well, I guess it was Monday's press conference on Tuesday because of Labor Day. Matt Moscona had asked Brian Kelly why we didn't see Ashton Stamps in the game at all, a guy who started the last 2 years. And Kelly's answer was, essentially Ashton Stamps is a really good player, and he's got to be ready to get out there, which to me means this was working on Saturday. We weren't messing with the rotation. You get against a Louisiana Tech, who, no offense to Louisiana Tech, they took it to Southeastern last week, but they're not a top 10 team. You're going to have more room to run, more room to work guys in. Meanwhile, what if LSU didn't win last week? Would Coach Kelly still be feeling strong about the level of this team's play?
At the moment, no. I would have been upset, angry that I probably wouldn't have punched the podium because I did that last year. So, but I mean, we're in it for the long haul. I mean, and yes, it was a big game. It was an important game, but I don't believe it was going to define who we are. And walking away from that game on the road in a tightly contested battle, you would feel like, this is a team that can still compete for a championship.
Here's the Fox Business Report. Yeah, and you have no idea what taxes are going to be next year. And you have no idea if the Powerball is going to be in effect next year. You have no idea if the United States is still going to be around 20 years from now. Yeah, 271 or 371 million off of 1.3 billion. That's probably not the right time for me to have been looking at my phone. When everyone in the room wants to look over at me, and I'm like, oh shit, she's talking about me. No. And she's also a big part of the reason why my daughter goes to school in Mississippi. All right, let's start you off up on I-12 westbound. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that's right. I-12 westbound, right at the 10-12 merge. We are looking at some heavier than normal congestion right now, and it appears this is due to an accident that is, traffic crash in roadway. BRPD is working it, and it is in between Essen and the 10-12 merge. So says my board, as does my map, because that's where they're showing me the yellow lines, not red lines. So it's not enough to make you want to change your route just yet. Backing things up on 12, you have your normal volume on 12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish around the Range Avenue on-ramp. That will continue over the Amy River Bridge up to about O'Neill. From O'Neill until you get up to that line's filling in quickly. So just expect your normal volume that might step it up a little bit as you get towards the 10-12 merge. 10 westbound's always golden about this time. Coming in from Prairieville looks pretty great, as does 10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge Parish. I-110 is wide open as well. Stepping off the interstate onto your surface streets, man, Greenwell Springs Road at Wax is looking super duper heavy right now. If you were on, if you're on Greenwell Springs Road, anywhere past Magnolia Bridge Road, excuse me, there's just a super amount of volume right now, but I'm not seeing the reason why. Surface street accidents, there's 2 to look out for at this time. You've got Choctaw and Richcroft, and the other one's not an accident. It just says enforcement. Waterton at Boreas. Sorry. Old Hammond at Waterton. That's where that is. And that's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. .625 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Need just a minute to tell you about the folks over at Vex European. VexEuropean.com is their home base online. Where are you going to find them in real life? You're going to find them on Benefit Drive. Where's Benefit Drive? On the back part of Industriplex. So like closer to the airline side of Industriplex. Who needs to know about Vex European? Anybody that drives a European vehicle. Hit up VexEuropean.com. Little drop-down tab where it says makes a vehicle. That'll tell you who they specialize in. And this is the important part. Specialization is key right here. You're going to have a master-level technician who knows your make of vehicle when you go to Vex European. Whether you're talking about Jaguar, who, by the way, not too long ago, Jaguar dealership shut down, right? Yeah, you're not without a master level technician if you drive a Jaguar. You hit up vexeuropean.com. If you drive a BMW, a Mercedes, a Porsche, a Land Rover, if you drive an exotic, they've got you covered. vexeuropean.com. Sorry, I'm scrolling through my notes here. I got to find this segment. Here it is. Sometimes we break news around here. I know oftentimes we follow the news cycle. Sometimes we lead the news cycle around here. Congresswoman Julia Letlow joins me every so often. We shoot for every week. It comes out to about 3 out of every 4 because because Congress is busy. Congresswoman Julia Letlow was on the show yesterday. We talked about getting back to work. We talked about getting back to our nation's capital. We talked about getting back to Congress, budget battles, Epstein files, all the things. I saved 2 minutes till the end of the interview, or at the end of the interview, to ask her very open-endedly, Congresswoman, your name has been mentioned on numerous occasions as the next potential president of the LSU system. I'm just going to give you the floor. Take it where you want to go. And this is where she went.
I've prayed about it. I've decided that now is not the right time to pursue the presidency of LSU. Gosh, it has been humbling, to say the least, to be mentioned as a candidate. My background, we've talked about it so many times here, is in higher education. Gosh, it's my passion, education. I talk about it all the time, but for now, I need to stay focused on representing the 5th district, where, Brian, I have the honor of representing LSU in Congress and on the Appropriations Committee. There is so much more good work that can be accomplished for the university right here in D.C., and I also serve on the Health Education and Workforce Committee, so I will continue to be in the trenches fighting for a better education for our students. But thank you for giving me the platform to just kind of share my heart about that.
No, you've got the background in education, and I've heard your name on this topic more than once. I figured it would be appropriate to throw it out there.
Thank you so much for that. And again, a humbling experience to have your name in the mix for the flagship university of the state. But I feel like there's so much more I can do right now in D.C.
There's the answer to one question, but that's not the only question being tossed around right now about Congresswoman Julia Letlow. The other question is she going to run for Bill Cassidy's Senate seat? Now, I know I'm overanalyzing. I know I'm breaking it down too much. And if you want to break it down too much as well, that full interview is available on demand at talk1073.com, courtesy of the folks at Lake Urgent Care. I know I'm breaking this down, syllable by syllable to try and extract something that may or may not be there. But I think I found something that is there. She referenced within that answer her work in the 5th Congressional District. But then it pivoted over to how she could serve LSU in Baton Rouge. Right? Her district now contains LSU. Her tone was more about serving Baton Rouge than serving the 5th. And she's on a radio station in Baton Rouge. Why wouldn't she say that? But also, would she be talking more about representing the whole state on the Senate side? Her name's out there a whole bunch. And this is the part that I think I'm picking apart too much, but I'm going to go ahead and share it with you anyway. I might be wrong. Who knows? But the way she ended the answer to the follow-up, the way she ended that makes me feel like things are wide open. The second one.
I feel like there's so much more I can do right now in D.C.
She said D.C., not Congress on the back end. That's an inconsistency with what she said on the front end. She said I could serve more in D.C. than she said. It's very easy to say I could do more in Congress. I know. Nitpicking. I am nitpicking. I understand that. I also really, really think that was not. I don't think that was by mistake. I'm not going all in, but I will push a few chips towards the middle of the table on this one. I will not be shocked. I will not be shocked if we don't hear an announcement sometime in the next 2 weeks. And then what does that do to the Senate race? It makes it so juicy. We got a break. We got news, traffic, weather. Haggai Davis coming up next. A little cup of tech gumbo. This coming week will be the first week that I will actually be able to sit down and redo your intro. So we're just going to do the music again. I have literally had something the last God knows how long. Last week I was out for 2 days. This week we had Labor Day. I'm still playing catch up from last week. And I'm pretty sure I did damage to my liver. What? Oh, kill the mics? 637 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. It is time on a Thursday for a cup of tech gumbo. Let's hit a little music. I still haven't made the new intro. Just hit the music. That's on me. I'm lazy. I'm a terrible person. I don't write thank you letters. But I still appreciate, if you can believe that, I still appreciate Haggai Davis. Time for a cup of tech gumbo. How are you?
I'm doing great, Brian.
Presented by 180 Pros. How are you, man?
Doing awesome. 180 Pros, 180pros.com.
All right.
We can take care of your IT for you.
I'm glad it's 180 because the 360 would put you right back where you were.
Exactly.
That's smart.
Yeah. If what's not working for you right now, do a 180. Come to us.
Right. The only time you need a 360 is in a dunk competition.
There you go.
See, that should be the tagline. Can you all adopt that as a tagline?
Ooh,
Can you put that on a business card?
I might.
Can you call 5-Star Printing and Signs and put that on a business card?
There is a possibility.
The only time you need a 360 is in a slam dunk competition. All right, we got a lot to talk about this morning. I want to start with this. The next chapter of AI is, no, I know what you meant. Is that about right?
Pretty close.
Okay. Let me scroll back up here, get to the notes. Forget clicks. Windows 12 will understand your intent, says Microsoft.
Yes. So, whether they're going to call it Windows 12, Windows 2030, Windows whatever the next version of Windows is going to be called, it's going to be built on artificial intelligence, and it's going to be much more about talking to the computer than using the mouse and keyboards.
Okay.
That's their intent, anyway. Good luck in South Louisiana with that.
Right.
They're wanting Windows to be much more like the computers that we saw on Star Trek back in the 60s kind of stuff where computer, and it does whatever you're asking it to do. I don't think we're there yet. I think it's going to be quite some time before we get that level of communication where you're having a fluent conversation with the computer the way Microsoft is describing it in the article that was released and this was on, I think, windowscentral.com or somebody who focuses on Microsoft. But yeah, it was interesting.
How is this any different than what we already get with Siri or Alexa?
Well, with Siri or Alexa, one of those digital assistants, right now you're asking it a question and it's processing the information back from data centers, wherever. This is going to be more living on your local machine.
Right.
And that's where, you're going to need a lot more computing processing power on the local machine. It's still going to have to communicate back to a data center somewhere, but they're wanting this thing to just understand you. And so when you're talking to it, it knows what Brian's all about, what Brian's thinking, what he really meant by asking that question, which is just nowhere near what we can do with computers nowadays. It's hard enough for people to understand what you're thinking based upon your emotions and how you're expressing yourself. To think that a computer within the next 3 years is going to be able to break that down is just a bit far-fetched for me to believe we're even close to that yet.
All right. So there are a bunch of nuances that enter the equation here. And the first question I have to follow up with is emotion. How does it know?
Well, that's a great point. We've talked about artificial intelligence, artificial general intelligence, and artificial superintelligence, where a GI is where the computer is now as smart as humans. The ASI is where computers are smarter than humans. We're still 5+ years out from AGI. We're 20+ years out from ASI. Right now, we're still just at artificial intelligence, where the computers are not as smart as humans. They're only doing what we're asking them to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so to think that a computer can start interpreting emotion in the way you express yourself, that's where you're getting to AGI and ASI. And so we're not there. I just the fact that they're wanting Windows to be able to, when you can talk to it and it knows what you're wanting, I think is going to be a great goal to get towards, but it's just not there.
Okay, but the question becomes how? Because does your computer sync with your smartwatch to know your heart rate, or like how does it know that?
That's a great question.
Hey, buddy, you feeling sad? Like, how does your computer? At any point, is your computer going to go enhance your calm, John Spartan? Demolition Man. Sorry,
it's much more about being Jarvis on Iron Man.
There you go.
And Jarvis is a really fun thing to watch when you're watching the Marvel movies, but again, that is so much further down the road than where we are anytime soon, because Jarvis can interpret the different emotions that Stark has.
Well, so but like, you think it's bad when a husband tells a wife to calm down. Wait till the computer does it.
Oh yeah, that's when all of a sudden bullet holes show up in the computer.
Just saying. I mean,
or the computer bounces off a brick wall.
That happens from time to time.
It has been.
I don't want my computer saying you seem tense. That doesn't.
I'm just not ready for my computer to have that level of conversation with me. Period. I don't want to discuss last night's football game with my computer.
Right.
That's for me to have with my friends.
Right.
With humans, not with a computer. And unfortunately, a lot of people are using artificial intelligence as that companion now.
Mm-hmm.
And it has become, we've talked about it on the show multiple times, about how people are getting so addicted to artificial intelligence. And when we did a story not long ago, a young kid took his life because the computer was kind of suggesting that the artificial intelligence large language model suggested, do you really want to live? I mean, as bad as this sounds like your life is, do you? And the kid killed himself. And now they're suing, and the parents are suing the ChatGPT. And oh yeah, it was
How did I miss this story?
It's something we talked about. Not on the show. I guess maybe it was when I send you 25 pages of stuff.
Well, that's part of it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
only 18 this week, but it's but I don't know how I missed that one.
We'll go back and find it.
We can revisit that at some
yeah.
point. I mean, yeah, that's because a computer is input and output, and a computer is just evaluating based off of a series of things that are inputted into it and can't take in the overall human experience.
And that's the problem with these large language models, the ChatGPTs, the Geminis, the Claudes, the Copilots, all of those things. People are starting to put too much credence, emphasis, whatever belief into what these models are generating back at them, and it's frightening how much people are just looking for anything. And when you're getting that information back from a bot that's just guessing the next word, that's problematic.
We got a lot more to cover here, and we're going to cover a separate topic during the break. If you're not watching us on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, you might want to check in. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, courtesy of the folks at Lake Urgent Care every single day. I got a question about a listener question about AI data centers and water usage when we hit our break. When we come back, we're going to talk about everything from Microsoft inventing calculators that are wrong to the U.S. buying a chunk of Intel. That's going to be, to me, a major topic in the coming weeks and months. Right now, though, before we get you to Your Money Now, or get you to our break leading up to Your Money Now, let me remind you, Talk 107.3, along with First American Bank and Trust, are teaming up to honor our military and raise funds for Folds of Honor. This nonprofit organization provides scholarships to the spouses and children of soldiers who were killed or disabled in service. To donate to this important cause, visit our website at talk1073.com, Folds of Honor, to honor their sacrifice and educate their legacy. Quick break. We're back next. Okay. My buddy Chandler would like to know, with all the AI data centers coming up, does this really mess up the water supply?
Yes.
How much? And
so, like this big, huge data center they're building up there northeast Louisiana.
which I'm told is the size of Manhattan. I don't believe that.
It's at the size of Disney World.
Okay.
The campus will be the size of Disney World.
Okay.
It's going to legally suck as much water up out of the ground as it can.
Mm-hmm.
They can't run a pipe over to the Mississippi and pull that back over
No.
because they can't use that dirty water like that. When you're running that water across those hot pipes to cool down, to absorb the heat and create steam. Well, if you're steaming off the water and all you're left with all the crap coming down the river, that's going to be really horrible. So they're going to be sucking all the water out of that aquifer up there in northeast Louisiana. And good news is nobody lives there in that little bitty town. So,
Well,
but yes, they are going to be sucking a tremendous amount of water.
okay.
out.
The follow-up question is, even with the steam, how come we can't make this recapturable? Like runoff goes into a reservoir pumps right back into the
It's a great question because then you would have to have chiller units to cool the water back down.
right.
And why they're not, there are closed circuits where I don't know specifically how they're which method they're going to be using. If they're using a closed system, and then yes, that's a good thing. Most data centers that we because we did a big story about it, they're not using the closed center
Mm-hmm.
to recapture the water after it's evaporated off and run it back through. Matter of fact, we did a story 2 weeks ago in England right now. They've been going through a drought in the different parts, and they're telling people to use less water so that the data centers there have enough water. Because the data centers are more important than the citizens to drink water.
Well, the data centers serve the world.
I understand.
So, yeah. That's the old Star Trek. The needs of the many
outweigh the needs of the few or the one. Yes, thank you, Spock.
Okay, so then the follow-up question to that is, how far away are we from self-contained reservoirs with maybe some kind of additive to the water to keep it on a chilling process and reduce the amount of steam?
Again, it gets back to whether you're doing a closed system or the open system to just, I don't know the efficiency levels of which one is more capable. I don't know.
Well, draining an aquifer
like
without
Exxon,
without recovering it. Exxon does not use river water, and that's a
they pull
serious point of contention.
straight out of the aquifer. But so does most of the chemical plants.
But like Exxon would be so Exxon and all the plants up and down the river ought to be using river water because they could filter it before.
They could have those centrifuges and spin the crap out so that they use just the water that need and not delete all of the drinking water from the citizens who work at Exxon.
Right.
Byron says he's decided not to pursue the job of running for the president of LSU.
Okay. Good for him.
Brian, that's honorable. Just don't clog up the field. Let those less qualified than you to go after it.
The water is one topic. The energy is the other topic.
Well, yeah. I mean, having to build a whole nother power plant just to feed that data center, and yes, Meta has a 20-year commitment to using that data center kind of thing.
Here's the thing.
You're assuming
Meta is run by Mark Zuckerberg, and Mark Zuckerberg is an air quote environmentalist. Why would you create an invasive species? Why would you create something that's just going to drain resources?
Because again, the needs of the few, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. There's not many people in Northeast Louisiana where this data center is going to be feeding data to the world.
Well, no. I understand that. I mean, to determine mayor of Holly Ridge, they just take turns. But it's the Earth overall.
I get it.
All right. .652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Cup of Tech Gumbo continuing right now. Haggai Davis in the house. We're going to pivot here and I lost the. I see 18 pages, that guy.
I know.
18 pages. I wanted to talk about Intel, and I don't mean like
Yes, you're talking about Microsoft or the United States buying 10%.
Intel agreed to give U.S. government 10% stake in the company. What does this mean, and is this dangerous?
I don't even know if it's legal
Okay.
that the United States is now owning 10%. They're the largest shareholder of a publicly traded company. And the United States does not have a board seat, does not have a vote at the board, but yet owns 10% of this company. The Biden administration with the CHIPS Act that was passed when President Biden was in office was all about getting companies to build more of these microprocessors here in the United States. TSMC is building a big plant in Arizona, I believe it is, and may actually have started, producing chips now. But the U.S. is taking sides on and saying, "Hey, we like this company more than another."
This is beyond taking sides.
It's socialism.
It's communism. State
Yes.
state owning the means of production this is something that the entire Cold War was fought over. You want the free market. When the state owns even a percentage of the means of production, you've opened that door to say the state can own a heck of a lot more than that if it wants to.
I agree. I'm not comfortable with the United States owning a big portion of the company that makes the chips run in my laptop.
Also, when you consider everything else that we've seen that is either owned or run by the state government, anything short of the military, and it tends to be bleeding. It tends to be, whether you're talking about the Postal Service or every other thing that the state has bought in on or has owned the means of production on or run.
There's a lot of people, including people in Congress on both sides of the aisle, that were not happy about this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's going to be lawsuits. This has to be challenged in court as to whether or not it's legal.
Yeah.
And the Trump administration right now does not have a good track record in the courts.
Well,
and
he's batting about 500. It depends on what area you're looking at here, but he's batting about 500. And that's the flip side of that tag. I like the fact that the president questions where we're at on all these things.
I have no problem with questioning. That's fine.
No, but forcing the issue, I guess you could say. I like the fact that he's a disruptor. He pushes the envelope. That's it. I realize people recognize him for that when it comes to how the electorate reacts. But I look at it from, we need to question these things from how the market reacts as well. And I can't get on board with this one.
This is another one of those examples where you can't run the country like you run a company.
Because it's not.
Exactly.
And that's what makes the free market so great.
And so I think this is a mistake, having the United States government owning a major portion of a major corporation in the United States is just wrong. I'm a free market capitalist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a conservative. I just don't think this is a good idea.
Yeah. All right. I was testing the water there to see if you were in the same place I was.
Oh, absolutely. There's so many good things that the government can do with its private government partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a partnership. This is ownership.
Right.
And that's a big difference. I mean, if you want to give the Intel tax credits to build more plants, okay, that's what you do.
Right.
You don't
that's where people will make the argument that the government's choosing favorites.
Right.
And this is why I say this isn't favoritism, this is adoption, which totally blows it out of the water. But yeah, if the government wanted to say, that's what a public-private partnership is. The government making it easier for the business to survive, not the government owning the business.
Yes, very much.
Likelihood that this holds up.
Very unlikely,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I'm not an attorney, and I don't play one on radio, so I just don't see how this holds water at all.
All right, then let me ask you this question instead. Likelihood that if it does hold up, it'll be good business.
For who?
For Intel.
Oh, for Intel? I mean, you've got the U.S. government on your side all of a sudden. So you're
You are now subject to so many levels of bureaucracy.
and yet also there's the government's going to do whatever it can to make sure it doesn't fail.
Right.
So you're getting the good and the bad, and I just don't think that's a good thing that the government is involved in a private business or a publicly traded business.
Yeah.
Even worse, a publicly traded
It
business.
messes with so many different factors in the overall equation. We got about 2 minutes left. Did you want to?
Talk about Microsoft and
Yeah.
Excel.
Yeah.
So Microsoft has put Copilot into everything that they do. The one thing that
Let me read the headline.
Yeah, please do.
Microsoft launches Copilot AI function in Excel, but warns not to use it in any task requiring accuracy or reproducibility. Okay, go ahead.
Microsoft, after 45 years of having calculators, now has created a calculator that's not accurate.
Right.
They've spent all this money to say, look, here's Excel. There is no right. I mean, there's no not a maybe in Excel. It's yes or no.
Right.
It's ones or zeros. And now, hey, this may be right, this may be not. But it's Copilot. It may or may not. But you got to take it for what it's worth. No, that's not what you're doing with Excel. Excel is a yes, it works. No, it doesn't. 1 + 1 is always 2 in Excel. Not, well, it may be 2, we think, but if you use some weird math, it may be.
What is it to anyway?
You're just subject to, Copilot maybe having hallucination. 1 + 1 now is $2.7 billion.
He is Haggai Davis. You get a full serving of Tech Gumbo weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, right here on Talk 107.3 FM, and of course, anywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Always appreciate the time, brother.
Thanks, Brian.
We're coming up on 7 o'clock at Talk 107.3 FM at WBRP. We'll catch news, we'll catch traffic, we'll catch weather, then we'll hop back into top stories and trending. Barry Erwin from Leaders for a Better Louisiana will join us at 7:15. Here comes news. Dude, okay, when I remake the... I know which soundbite I didn't have last time. I'm going to remake it completely, by the way.
Okay.
I'm still going to explain things in a way that I can understand, and then the clip from The Hangover, you just don't get it. But there is a clip that I missed out on the first time, and the way you just explained that brings it back up to me, and if my computer would run, I hope it's out there somewhere. I got to find it. Okay. My computer is so effing slow. It's our internet up here. Moscona's been losing guests on video.
I know.
lately.
I know. I've left Gordy a couple messages. We would like to come do the IT here for trade and make this place start working right.
Okay. I will bring it up. Okay. This is a clip from the 80s that is just as relevant today as it was when it came out. Remember the movie Short Circuit? There you go. That.
Nice.
It just runs programs. That, of course, not the whatever emotional AI that's going to be coming out.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was a good segment.
I thought so as well.
They played well. But yeah, when you see Gordy in the hall, say, "Hey, look, 180 Pros would like to come do your IT for advertising."
Yeah, I don't know where we're at on
I mean,
like availability Oh, JP, you have a coaster over there for the IT people? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. I can't remember the name of the company, but we all have coasters with the website and the phone number, which is a smart thing to do. It's that way their number's always on my desk. But their number is on my desk. I just can't remember the name of them right now. I want to say they're based in Metairie. Starts with an S. Well, like, yeah, if we're having like server problems or whatever, I have called them at 4:30 in the morning, and had problem solved in under 5 minutes. Had to reboot the servers, but like, all right, we're supposed to have one in here in case something goes wrong. Oh, I asked you a couple weeks ago what kind of router extender you have in your home, and you sent me just a general link to Best Buy.
Oh,
What kind do you have?
I have Linksys Mesh Network, and I you just set 2 extenders up in my house.
Linksys is Linksys.
Yes. This is the Linksys VLOP is the one that I have. This is what I have in my house. I've got the Linksys router, and then 2 of these. One in one bedroom where my office is, one in another bedroom where my wife's office is.
So like, this is where our router is in the den. This is all backyard.
Yep.
And then it's going to go in my mom's house up here. It would physically go over there, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Linksys VLOP.
and it will pull the signal across.
Yeah.
And then extend it in her.
Perfect. Appreciate you, Haggai. Yep. 7:05. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. JP producing. We are talking this hour about the Louisiana Fact Book. Facts for the future. Better Louisiana indicators measuring states' well-being, trending up year to year. We're going to dive into that in our next segment. Barry Erwin from Leaders for a Better Louisiana is going to hop on board to talk about it. Also this hour, Crimestoppers coming your way at 7:35. Lieutenant Don Coppola going to stop by, see if we can't catch some bad guys. Right now, though, top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Forgot to mention we're at 72 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge to start off your second hour. So as LSU searches for its next president, they can remove Congresswoman Julia Letlow's name from the running. She announced yesterday morning right here on this very show that while she's humbled by the interest and has a love of education, she feels she can best serve Louisiana from our nation's capital. I went to number 4 and didn't even look up to see if you were going to hit my bad. Go ahead.
Number 4.
There it is. President Donald Trump suggested Wednesday that New Orleans could be his next target for deploying the National Guard to fight crime, potentially expanding the number of cities around the nation where he may send federal law enforcement. Trump said he could get New Orleans cleaned up much faster than D.C. Poll question up on our Facebook live feed, informal poll question. Just fire off with your answer, no matter what your answer is. No right answer, no wrong answer. Do you like the idea of sending the National Guard to New Orleans? It's not just a yes or no question. Whatever your take is on any level of that spectrum right there, do you like the idea of the president sending National Guard troops to New Orleans? Put it up on Talk 107.3's Facebook live feed.
Number 3.
LSU has, this per the Daily Report, by the way, LSU has launched its Energy Institute, an interdisciplinary research hub aimed at strengthening the university's leadership and impact in energy research, natural resource management, and innovation. This is part of the overall scholarship first agenda. This is going to build on the work of the Institute for Energy Innovation, the Center for Energy Studies, the Louisiana Geological Survey, and the LSU-led fuel system.
Number 2.
The worst of the worst are coming to Angola. Federal and state officials yesterday unveiled an immigrant detention center called Camp 47. They did this yesterday. Governor Landry said there were 51 criminal illegal aliens as of yesterday afternoon. Another 208 will be moved in by the end of this month.
Number 1.
Not quite a hurricane or not quite a named storm yet, but it is on the way, y'all. Showers and thunderstorms associated with a tropical wave located over the eastern tropical Atlantic several hundred miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands have started to consolidate and become slightly better organized. Environmental conditions are conducive for development of the system during the next several days. As of right now, it's got a 50% chance of becoming a named storm over the next 2 days, 80% chance of becoming a named storm over the next 7 days. If and when it becomes a named storm, it will be Gabrielle.
Well, yesterday, the White House confirmed that President Trump will speak with President Zelensky today when the latter is in Paris at a meeting of European leaders. More talk.
Yeah, more talk. Awesome stuff. Good stuff. Let's just talk more. Let's just look until Zelensky and Putin slapbox. I don't care how they do it.
Yeah.
I don't care if they slapbox. I don't care if they bare naked wrestle. I don't care if it's a hot dog eating contest.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
What?
Just saying.
Just
saying. Why can't they just meet on the green like we talked about?
no. That would be for Trump.
Okay.
I trust the president on the golf course. I don't.
A good old fashioned arm wrestle. You know?
They can arm wrestle.
Man, that'd be cool.
Go, full on Stallone over the top.
Yeah.
There's not enough good arm wrestling movies in our history.
Man, there really aren't.
No.
Dang.
That's the only one.
In other news, no Powerball winner last night. The next drawing is Saturday, and this time for roughly $1.7 billion.
Awesome.
Oh, man.
So I got to go back over to Be Quick or Racetrack or wherever, wherever you get your Powerball tickets.
Man.
Wait a minute. I think I can get my Powerball ticket at Mathern's. So when I swing by for lunch tomorrow.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. All right. I think I just solved the problem.
That's what I'm talking
That's the Mathern's on campus. I'm pretty sure the customer service desk has a lottery machine right there. Yeah. See, we always associate it with a gas station.
There we go.
But no, that's that.
Mathern's coming through for you, man.
I'm 90% sure.
About.
I shouldn't say that out loud until I know for 100%. But I think so. Either way, $1.7 billion.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a big number.
Oof. That's no chump change, my friend.
No. But see, here's the thing, though. With the take-home, with the one-time payout, you lose a whole lot. Like, if you have $1.7 billion, you are on the verge of buying in on a sports franchise. $1.7 billion, you're in that G5 category. You're in the private plane category. Yeah. You knock that down to like $500-600 million, and we could do it $500 million.
I know, right? No, just keep it.
Whatever. I'm not. It's like bending over to pick up a penny in the parking lot, man.
Yeah.
It's not even worth the effort anymore.
I'm telling you. Hey, ratings are in, and the first weekend of college football was huge. Texas versus Ohio State drew 16.6 million viewers. 10.8 million watched Notre Dame and Miami. 10.7 million saw Alabama burn, and 10.4 million were tuned in for LSU Clemson.
Love it.
Huge numbers here.
Ginormous numbers across the board, and college football has the secret sauce to get that first weekend underway. Now, if they could figure out how to get rid of week 0 or just make week 0 week 1 to where everybody plays along,
right?
You would have something so much better. But you've got week 1 figured out, and that's awesome. Next step is, if not week 0 for the next step, making week 2. You can't make week 2 rival week 1 because there's going to be 2 to 3 games, possibly even 4, where power teams are going to play doo-doo teams.
Yeah.
Where, no offense to Southeastern, but a couple weeks from now, LSU's going to play Southeastern. And there's not apples to apples. So, I love playing the in-state teams, and I love seeing everybody on the roster get to play. You know, I like seeing the depth. I like seeing the domination.
That's right.
And I like the fact that if you play football, you're, you know, through from Pop Warner all the way through high school, and you get the chance to go play in college, even if you don't make it to LSU and you make it to a Southland Conference school, you can still play under those Tiger Stadium lights for once. That's an awesome thing.
It is.
It's an amazing thing.
It's good
So,
stuff.
yeah, I
People
know.
are paying attention.
I know.
Viewership
And we
is
saw what
up.
happened last year against Nichols.
Yeah.
I forget the name of that running back. I think he was either from John Curtis or Rummel, but I forget the name of that running back who just decided to man up and say, I belong on this field. I belong on this patch of air quote grass. Like I belong here. And it was a beautiful thing to see.
Love it.
That's what I love about it. I love that's why I love sports.
Yeah.
You have those stories. And the wins and the losses are all, you know, that's great. Everybody loves a winner. But when you have those stories of like one dude who's going to show up and show out, that's when he rises above himself, man versus himself. That's the plot line there.
That's it.
713 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Hey, if you do win the Powerball on Saturday and you need a place to keep that money, landmarkbankla.com. Landmarkbankla.com. They will welcome you with open arms if you win the Powerball and you need a place to put your money. Personal banking is covered on this front. Business banking is covered on this front. Whether you're talking about checking account, saving account, money market account, whether you're talking about borrowing money, which if you win the Powerball, you won't need to do. Whether you're talking about investing your money, which if you win the Powerball, you might want to do. Landmark Bank has got you covered. Started as a community bank in 1897. They remain a community bank to this day. And you know what? If they don't have a Landmark Bank in your community and you win the Powerball, call them anyway. I bet you they'll put one there. LandmarkBankLA.com. Quick break. We'll join Barry Erwin next. I'm promising to open up branches of a bank.
It's like, you know what? Landmark will do it.
It's like, hey, I live in Kenilworth and I won the Powerball. All right. We're going to put a Landmark Bank right next to Mathern's.
Yeah, so I heard on Mornings with Brian Haldane that you'll put a Landmark Bank right here. Oh man. What do you mean you wouldn't do that?
And they
I heard it on
absolutely
Brian
would.
Haldane.
No, you tell Landmark Bank I have $500 million that I need to put somewhere. They're going to open a Landmark Bank.
Oh yeah.
They will open, yeah.
Oh man.
You could find an empty Blockbuster video somewhere.
Oof.
717 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. I should have gotten with JP about the bumper right there. It was either going to be My Future's So Bright I Gotta Wear Shades or Howard Jones's Things Can Only Get Better. Because we're trending up right now in Louisiana, and we've got the numbers to back it up. Those numbers would be in the Louisiana Fact Book. And Barry Erwin from Leaders for a Better Louisiana is on the hotline right now. How are you, Barry?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. The numbers say I'm doing well. So Let's dive in. I want to start with this. For those that don't know, what is the Louisiana Fact Book?
It is something we started really about 3 years ago. It's really a list of indicators about things that are important in our state. We listed about 35 of them across several big issue areas: education, workforce, infrastructure, the economy, health, energy and environment. These types of things, and it's kind of a way for us to take our temperature and see how we're doing as a state, if we're moving forward, backwards, or just where we are. And this is our third year of putting it out. And as you mentioned, the news this time is encouraging.
It is, and overall, it's encouraging. There are still some weak spots within, but let's start with the 10,000 foot view before we dig into a little more granular detail. Give me the thumbs up, thumbs down. Education and workforce, were thumbs up there?
Yeah, those are the big areas. Let me go back a year, and I'll tell you how this difference kind of plays out. If you go back a year ago, out of these 35 indicators, we had 16 up, but we also had 16 down, and then we had 3 the same. So think about that. We had as many going down as we did going up. Really unacceptable. This year, we've made progress. We've got 20 going up, 13 going down, and 2 staying the same. It's not exactly where we want to be, but at least we're moving more in that direction, and it's the highest we've seen since we've been doing this. But yeah, to your point, the areas that kind of stand out in the positive thing are education and kind of the economy. And we saw the education numbers last year kind of doing the same. We've been putting a big focus on like early reading, early math, high dosage tutoring, all those things we've been talking about. And it looks like those things are kind of paying off. And of course, we've been doing more on the higher ed side with our workforce a lot, with things like dual enrollment, kids graduating from high school with credits, and, our overall education attainment of our adult population growing. So that's been good news, and that's continued. But we've also seen a bit of a tick up on the economy. We can talk a little bit more about that if you want to.
Yes, we'll circle back to a couple of outlier questions that I have in a little bit, but let's stick with the overview here. How are we looking on the economy?
Yeah, actually pretty good. That's one where we kind of had some bright spots that we didn't really have last year. I think the big news, and again, you have to take a little bit of this, with a grain of salt. We have been losing population really since 2020 in our state. This past year is the first year we saw a little uptick. It was not huge, but it was an uptick of about 10,000 people or so. So, that's the first time we've seen like we've maybe reversed that number. Hope that one continues. The other thing is, as you know, we've suffered with an out-migration problem for a number of years.
Oh, yeah.
We still have it, but we've really cut that number in half from where it was last year. So we're still got a problem, but we're shrinking it, and that's a positive thing. But I think the really good news is it's kind of on the job side. Kind of 3 things happened over the last year that have been, really significant. Number one, we got to kind of pre-COVID employment levels, since the first time after COVID. That's great. We actually got to exceed the national average in terms of job growth this past year. We were about 1.2%, and the nation was below that. And then the third thing is we got employment in our state back up to 2 million people, which we haven't had in a decade. So it's been a decade since we've had 2 million people employed in the state, and we've kind of crossed that kind of important, line again, and that's really been good.
With it, and I know we're going to stay high level right here, but I did have a follow-up on this one. It says we're moving in the right direction with SNAP recipients. Does that mean per capita or overall we saw a reduction?
In which part? I'm sorry, say that again.
SNAP recipients. So if you're adding to the working population by getting back up over 2 million, does that mean we've seen fewer people as SNAP recipients, or does that mean like it's just a smaller percentage based off of the new numbers?
It's really a smaller percentage,
Gotcha.
and part of the problem with SNAP recipients is we change the rules from time to time, and
Yep.
that changes the deal. But it's really the latter, what you said, the percentage of the numbers, yeah.
We'll get back in on the 10,000 foot view in just a second. You may have answered this already, Barry, and Barry Erwin from Leaders for a Better Louisiana as our guest. You may have answered this already, but I just want to make sure it's clear. This information is based off of hard data and not polling opinion, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
These are reliable sources.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, these are real numbers. It's not a
Yes.
it's not a sample size and people feel like.
No.
This is actual stuff. All right.
No.
Back into
absolutely.
it. Health and well-being, how we doing?
That's one that's been really kind of a problem that we've really got to kind of get our heads around a little bit more. We've seen declines there. I mean, the big ones, declining life expectancy, that's just continued, low birth weight babies, infant mortality. Those are issues where we've really had some problems and struggled. I mean, I think the good news is, heart disease is the biggest killer in our state when it comes to, chronic disease. We've seen a little improvement there. Obesity, actually seen a little improvement there. That's a big issue here in our state too. So those are good things, but those are really some chronic issues that we really need to focus on. Life expectancy has more to do than just with health issues. It also has to do with behavioral issues. Honestly, our murder rate, honestly, the number of people that die from overdoses. So those are, complex problems, but things that we should be able to try and get our heads around.
Infrastructure?
Yeah, kind of, a mixed bag there. It wasn't a really big change either way. Quality roads kind of ticked up a little bit. That's good. That measures it's an international measure of the roughness of your roads, believe it or not. But that ticked up a little bit. Quality of bridges, that basically stayed the same. That the numbers of bridges we have that are posted or have some issue there, that was really pretty much status quo. Not a lot of change there.
Mm-hmm.
The good news about broadband, that's part of infrastructure. We continue to see, growth and expansion in that area, even in some of the areas where we're, kind of been in, digital desert, so to speak.
Why? And is this even with the, pushing pause on the, broadband for everybody program?
Some of this stuff, data lags a little bit. So what we really have seen is some of the growth that we have seen over the last year or more. As we go forward with some of these things, that's going to show up, in the data going forward. So no, it doesn't really capture some of that just yet.
No. With the quality of Louisiana roads, you said that's judged on an international scale. I feel like we should be graded on a curve here because of the ground that's underneath us. If we're already in the green on that front, that means we're doing even better than we thought. Yeah, we're actually doing better. And I think, with a lot of these things, there are kind of signs of hope. We just went through a big process during the legislative session of starting to reorganize DOTD. On the one hand, that seems kind of esoteric. It's like a bureaucracy thing. But on the other hand, the goal there is to get more asphalt, more concrete on the ground, more repair, more maintenance, all of those type things. And so, if we're kind of ticking up under the old regime, if we would like to think that we can be, really more effective with a new kind of structure at DOTD, we might see these numbers really improve, over the next few years, and that would be great. Barry Erwin from Leaders for a Better Louisiana is our guest, breaking down the numbers on the Louisiana Fact Book. Wrap us up with environment and energy before we start to get a little bit more in depth.
Yeah, I think the issues there that have been kind of standing out are a couple of things. We've got a lot of rural water systems around the state. You probably heard about it a little bit during COVID when, a lot of money was put towards, trying to help some of those things out. We've got more than 1,000 of them. And a lot of them we continue to see, declines in terms of compliance with federal, guidelines and also with more safety issues there. So, it's not the hugest number, but we've seen this number get worse over the last couple of years. Now, it's a function of age. These
Mm-hmm.
things are getting old. It's a function of the fact they're in rural areas and they don't have a lot of resources and actually, a lot of, personnel capacity to deal with some of these issues, something we just kind of need to keep an eye on in that regard because a lot of people still get their water from a lot of these, rural systems.
I love the fact that both air quality and energy production are simultaneously in the green here because you would think if you're increasing energy production, the environmentalists will tell you that's negative effects on the air, but if you're seeing both of them moving in the right direction, we're doing something very well.
Yeah, no, that's really good. The energy production continues to rise. Largely that's the natural gas that we're getting, out of North Louisiana, which has really kind of been booming. I think one of the good things on the air quality is, that measures it in really our metro areas around the state in terms of good and bad air quality days. I will say, we've had some bad ones in the past. A lot of that, remember some of those wildfires and some of those things we had, which were extraordinarily rare. So that's contributed to the fact too. So that's all good news. You're absolutely right.
A couple minutes left here with Barry Erwin from Leaders for a Better Louisiana, and we're going to have to book a follow-up because I'm not a third of the way through my notes here, Barry. I tell you,
right.
Let's go back to the top of the page to the education and workforce part of this, and I want to tie two factors in together. Pre-secondary enrollment is down, and when you get to health and well-being, prison recidivism rate is prison recidivism rate is up. Is there a way we can work on both of these factors at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, I think we really have to. I mean, the thing about the recidivism that's kind of interesting, we have people in jails at the local level and we have people in jails at the state level. They're still convicted of state crimes, but, some of them are in local jails and some are in state jails. The ones in the state jails, the recidivism rate has stayed about the same or improved. It is not the problem in the state jails. The problem that really is there with recidivism is in the local jails. Now, that has to do with a couple of factors. One, there's a different kind of prisoner that's there, number one. Number two, they don't tend to have, a lot of the training in those kind of, remediation type programs to help with those kind of folks. So that's something to keep in mind there. The other thing that stands out on the education stuff, and really need to point this out, is the kindergarten readiness.
Oh, yeah.
You kind of look, we're doing better in some of these other things when they're in school, but our kids are showing up for kindergarten less and less able to read, primarily is what we're talking about. We're not talking about them being big readers, but knowing letters and knowing numbers and, but being able to put words together. Those numbers, that's been going down. That has got to be a concern, because what we're seeing by and large is when we get our kids back into kindergarten in first, second, and third grade, largely they're improving. But they could be doing so much more if our kids were ready, which speaks to kind of the need for early childhood, more, access there.
Well, and as long as kindergarten readiness is lagging, third grade reading will lag as well. No matter what improvements Dr. Brumley makes, that becomes a bigger, I don't want to say societal problem, but perhaps a problem that is bigger than government.
Yeah, it's a bigger task for these teachers. If you think about it,
Yeah.
The farther behind those kids are when they get them, they're doing some heavy lifts. If you look at the data from where they start, in kindergarten to where they end up in third grade, they are doing some heavy lifts. But the problem is they're having to start with really heavy lifts.
Yeah. I'm looking at the clock, Barry, and I'm going to go ahead and be responsible here. We've got to get you back on in the next week because I have 9 more questions listed, and that's not even without hearing your answers. So,
Hey, glad to do it.
No, absolutely. I'll be in touch early next week for a follow up here because there's so much more to cover. Louisiana Fact Book is out. In the overall, it is more of a thumbs up than a thumbs down. He's Barry Erwin for Leadership for a Better Louisiana. I appreciate a couple minutes this morning.
All right. Thanks so much, Brian.
Thank you. Absolutely. Before we hit your news, traffic, and weather, got to remind you that the Talk 107.3 app is now available on Apple CarPlay. Press play on exclusive podcasts. Listen 24/7 anywhere you go. When we get staticky, it kicks in, and it's brought to you by the folks at Lake Urgent Care. Here comes news. I haven't even seen Don. Oh, yes is the answer to that question. Yes is the answer to that question. I just texted you. I said, you here? Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. I feel awesome. I feel a lot better than I did at this time last Thursday. This time last Thursday, I was still in bed, sleeping off a hell of a night with a bunch of hotel people. Oh. The Louisiana Travel Association. No. We were at the Golden Nugget Casino in Lake Charles, which is a ridiculously great facility. Oh, my God. You know? JP said the segment last week with Emily Handel and Ike here went well. Were you here for it, or? Yeah, we both just kind of left in the. snap. That's incredible. Bro, that is awesome, man. Two-seat twin-jet supersonic jet. Jet trainer designed and produced. Northrop Grumman. Faster than the speed of sound, though. Like supersonic. That's done. That don't fuck around. It's like the Mako shark of the sky. I bet you I'm the first person to say that. Because I'm a shark guy. Damn. That is a badass little jet, man. All right. Is it in my calendar? Yep. That's what JP said. I haven't listened. I didn't listen to it. I only listened to a little bitty bits and pieces when I was driving back from Lake Charles. Um, she's a solid host. Normally it's her and Dixon McMakin. No, Dixon had the band. Okay, Dixon's the new voice of Tiger Stadium. LSU has. .37 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. You know how we do on a Thursday. We're gonna see if we can catch some bad guys. It's time for Crimestoppers. 'Welcoming in Lieutenant Don Capola. How are you, sir?
Hey, good morning, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing very well. We got some stuff to cover before we hit up some individual
Yes,
fugitives.
we do.
I
A
was-
lot of good things going on.
Yeah, I know. I want to start. I'm throwing you completely off the rails here.
Yes,
Okay, it's
go on.
completely out of left field.
Let's go.
Yesterday, the governor announced that the worst of the worst when it comes to immigrant criminals are going to be thrown into a new wing or a revamped wing of Angola, teaming up with ICE and whatnot. How often do Crimestoppers tips lead to things like what the governor's aiming to do here?
So once all this started and we were, in the height of this, we have received information of illegal immigrants, and so just like any other tip, those tips are forwarded to the appropriate agency, and they're investigated just like any other tip would be, whether it be a burglary, a theft, or whatnot. So we want to encourage people that have information to reach out to us, 344-7867, the P3 Tips app. Both are anonymous. Our website also is anonymous. So if there's any information, contact Crimestoppers.
So I asked the question because the follow up there is like, Crimestoppers is about reporting information about a crime, not dudes sitting in a Home Depot parking lot. I realize I'm crass in asking it that way, but like, you see where I'm going.
I see where you're going, and yes, it's about reporting crimes, and in this case, I mean, we're not going to turn the information away because of the fact of there is
100%.
a bigger picture.
No, 100%.
But also, Crimestoppers is looking as far as the prevention too. So it's not like we're on the reactive all the time. We want to be proactive, where if you hear information, if you in schools, if there's a student talking about I'm going to do this or this, and hey, get us that information and let's get ahead of that as well.
100%. Also, before we get to any fugitives for today, I want to ask you about, let's see, today is September 4th, which means we are less than a month away from the luncheon.
Our annual luncheon will be October 2nd at the Renaissance on Bluebonnet.
All right.
You can go to our website, crimestoppers225.com. There's information under the upcoming events tab that will get you information for that luncheon. This is a fantastic event. This is one of our biggest fundraising events to help pay these tips, which we just talked about, Brian. And, we recognize those who go above and beyond. So a lot of businesses may buy tables. The community comes out. They support the men and women who continue to do great things, making the arrest. And again, we couldn't do it, without your listeners and everyone else that are calling and submitting these anonymous tips. So come out. It's a great lunch. It's a great event, and see some of these great success stories. And then, of course, we just added a 9th parish, being Assumption. So it's going to be big. That's
actually where I was headed next. Is listen, it's Capital Region Crimestoppers. So if you're not in East Baton Rouge Parish, you can still be involved in the luncheon. It's wide open here. If you're in East Feliciana, West Feliciana, Point Capee, West Baton Rouge, Iberville, Assumption, or Livingston, make the drive on in. First of all, I'm going to tell you the lunch is phenomenal. And secondly, is the most humbling room to be in. It is unbelievably, it's overwhelming, the level of power, the level of love, the level of strength, the level of unity, that when you're in that room and you see the men and women who go out there and battle for our safety on a day-to-day basis, it's centering. It's really so centering and humbling. And you realize we got a lot of really, really great people out there. Really great people fighting for us. So, yeah, purchasing a ticket, purchasing a table is highly recommended.
Very, very much so. And thank you for that addition there. It was really good. So, but yeah, October 2nd, the Renaissance on Bluebonnet. I believe it starts around 11:30, goes until 1 o'clock. So it's make plans, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Unless some jackleg lights a table on fire, and then.
Well, I didn't want to. I didn't want to bring that up.
I always bring it up because I'm not the one that did it. I'm the one that put it out.
Well, and thank you for your help, and good thing we have Baton Rouge Fire Department as well as St. George.
Oh, they were taking notes.
Firefighters out. Oh,
I
yeah.
saw them taking notes.
I'm surprised they hadn't called you to do a class.
I'm a little bit surprised. I'm a little hurt.
We're gonna make that happen.
Yeah, it was backstory there. I guess so, 3 years ago, I guess it was.
3 years ago.
There's a candle on the table. Someone went to get a bread roll, and when they put the basket of rolls back down, the napkin flapped over on top of the candle. Poof! A little fire pops up, and
it was more than a little fire, and you sprung into action.
I did. I threw my water on. I threw my drink on it like a jilted lover. Put the fire out. A lot of smoke.
Could have been worse.
A lot of smoke. Those linens put out some smoke. I'll tell you that. All right. By the way, Crimestoppers225.com is the home base for on the web if you wanted to learn a little bit more about not just the luncheon, but about Crime Stoppers itself. All right, Don, what we got? Bad guys, where are we going?
So we're going to jump over to our Capital Region Crime Stoppers Facebook page. Denham Springs Police Department is requesting some assistance to identifying an individual in the photograph. It's not the best picture. They don't elaborate really on
the video's good though.
The video's good.
I mean, you never see his face. He's in a hoodie.
He's in a hoodie. But the majority of these people talk. Somebody may have information on this. Somebody may identify his statute, his walk or their walk.
Well, okay. So let's give the backstory on this. Denham Springs Police Department is requesting assistance in identifying an individual who is spray painting a wall. Like that's the video is him. It's the actual video of him spray painting the wall. So what I wanted to ask is, you say you might be able to identify his walk, you might be able to identify the clothing. What
his
about the
artwork? Exactly. His artwork
is that a definitive signature there? Is this can it be compared to other taggings you've seen elsewhere? That sort of thing.
So if you have any information, give Crime Stoppers a call, 344-7867. East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office is seeking assistance with identifying the individual in the next photograph, female who is believed to be responsible for taking multiple package thefts off of residential porches. And there's a good picture of her, believed to be in a older model SUV, which is also in the picture. And if you click on the picture, you can actually see a package on the ground. So yeah, anybody with information on her, give us a call. And Brian, while we're on this, a lot of people order Amazon and have the packages delivered, and
4 or 5 times a week.
The Ring camera is good, and whatever other cameras you have. But if you know something's being delivered and you're not home, get with a neighbor, get with a family member, or even change the address to a business if the business allows, so that way the package is safer than just being left on the porch.
I have everything that I order delivered here. But if you don't work someplace where that's allowed, then it's still going to come to the house. We leave ourselves with a certain level of vulnerability no matter what.
We do, but just take those precautionary actions just to make sure that you don't become a victim of this.
Yeah. Someday, and I know they have them out there, but someday someone's going to make the drop box mainstream.
Yes.
That to me is the next step in prevention here. You get the delivery and you have a drop box in front, not just your mailbox, but something big enough to hold the package.
Well, and with some people's orders, it needs to be a big box.
I completely agree. But if you're getting your meds delivered to your house, which is probably the most popular thing out there, which I don't understand why people steal, because 90% of them are heart medication.
Yes.
Right? So, or blood pressure or whatever. What are you stealing blood pressure for? Medicine. It just baffles me. This picture, by the way, someone's got to know this person.
Oh, someone. It's a great picture.
Spot on.
And wanted to make mention, we mentioned Jeremiah Davis was wanted on the charge of second-degree murder and illegal use of weapons from the Baton Rouge Police Department. Through anonymous Crime Stopper tips, which assisted, he has been apprehended.
Awesome.
So keep up the good work and keep those tips coming in.
We got about 2 minutes left with Lieutenant Don Coppola for Crimestoppers. 344-STOP is the phone number, 344-STOP, or using the P3 app. Let's move over to a couple of other futures.
Kyle Marcello. Kyle Marcello is wanted by the Baton Rouge Police Department, 37-year-old, on the charges of simple burglary of a vehicle and theft of a firearm. Investigators believe that Kyle was sitting outside of a business, observed somebody pull up, go inside the business, and the victim was only inside. They're thinking maybe 10 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they left the vehicle unlocked.
Yeah.
Kyle is believed to have opened the vehicle, helped himself to not only a firearm, the victim's wallet, and some other material belonging to the victim. So
the victim always says they were gone for 5 minutes. It's oh man,
and then you have the ones that leave their children in the car.
Yeah,
I'm just running in, and
the amount of, and this is one of my trigger points here, Don, is the amount of they had a gun in the vehicle, they had a weapon in the vehicle and left it unlocked. Like, it's just that is a big chunk of, if we would just lock our vehicles, the crime in Baton Rouge would go down a great deal.
Well, and that's I was getting to next. No matter, even if you're running in for a second, just lock the car.
Yeah.
Now we have a firearm that's on the street.
Right.
And
we're already out of time. Can you believe that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This has been Crimestoppers. He's Lieutenant Don Coppola. Here comes your money now on Talk 107.3.
That was quick.
Dude, that went way too fast today.
Hey, you have 2 seconds to see.
I do.
John, I can show you again, or I don't know if you want to come over here.
No, I'm I'm on the Sherwood Forest Crime Prevention District. I'm on the commission.
Yeah. Okay.
Every single meeting we have, and we have a meeting every other month, but the police reports that, and I'm forgetting our police officer's name, who's at the meetings. He also goes to Tara for theirs. Anyway, it's Jason. Anyway, the crime report, it's always vehicle burglaries. Every one of the doors unlocked. Literally every one. We have not seen one in the 2 years that I've been on the commission. We have not seen one where the doors were locked. Move on.
And it's just quick. Boom, boom, boom.
They hit it and move on. All right. What you got?
So this is actually a squad video.
Where is it?
I don't know where that was.
Nope.
So the next one is my son. That's him. So it just goes through other people, but yeah, man, I'm super proud of him.
Should be. That's awesome stuff.
let me. What is that thing gonna do?
That's going to become Gabrielle. Probably by Friday.
I mean, do they know it projected? Is it too early?
It's still too early. I don't know. We've had steering currents over here that have pushed everything up this way. I don't know if that's still the case right now, and I haven't dug in further.
Yeah, hopefully it is. Knock on wood.
Well, yeah. I don't want to have. We can go one more season. Let us
See, I don't want to. Somebody was like, "We're due." I'm like, "We ain't due for nothing."
We are doing that. What scares me is everything's been in the Atlantic so far. Nothing's touched land.
Well, and look, that's the best scenario. If they can do something to guarantee that. Let me know when you want to maybe have the guys on the inmates.
Oh yeah,
Beyond
whatever
bars.
you want.
Well, I was gonna see if we could do a longer.
That's right. We need to do an entire 8 o'clock hour. Is what I want to do. Yeah.
Just give me a date or two, and I'll run it by Captain Washington, who does their transportation. We're gonna be on the 18th. We're gonna go to Donaldsonville High. They reached out to us. We're gonna be at Pennington on the 24th and 25th. So it's
Let's get in before that so we can kind of talk about what's to come.
before the 18th.
Before the where are you at on the 18th?
Donaldsonville.
More so before Pennington. That's hopefully before the 18th, but more so definitely before Pennington. I'll pull up my my calendar just to make sure it's.
Look and see. Yeah, but the whole hour would be good.
Yeah, I mean we got to bang out this day in history, and then after that we can run.
That's fine.
This day in history has a sponsor, so I can't get rid of it.
No.
All right.
No, but I just think longer than because like today was like we're done.
Yeah.
So all right, y'all be good.
All right, brother.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. No problem.
Is this the longer intro? Good. $7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We got hour 2 almost in the books, hour 3 still heading your way. Going to dive into a news story I've been hearing from our news partners over at Louisiana Radio Network in just a minute. Before that, though, got to remind you about the folks at BREC. BREC.org is the home base online. Wherever you find them in real life is just really all over the parish. A number of really fantastic community parks out there. And I know I say it all the time, and I mean it. It's the best thing to me about BREC is how they kind of have to be all things to all people. It's really incredible. And we know how many different wants, needs, and desires there are out there when it comes to how you recreate yourself, how you either relax, tune out, dial out, take a leisure class, learn something new on the side, get your kids out of the house to go play, get your kids out of the house to play sports yourself, do a little training, get a little fitness, work on your heart rate, work on your heart health. Like all of these things combine into one, and BREC takes them on. And that's why it's awesome. Visit BREC.org, B-R-E-C, BREC.org. Get a look at the list of leisure classes. Get a look at the list of events. Get a look at the list of facilities. Get a look at what is actually out there for you at BREC.org. We have got, coming up in our next hour, Kevin Teasley. He's the head of Geo Academies. If you have not yet heard, they're doing some stuff with BRCC that's pretty cool. And we're going to dive into that coming up in just a little bit. Yeah, we're going to skip right past this day in history for it. In fact, we'll do this day in history at the end of the show. But we got Kevin coming up at 8:05, and he will kick off our third hour. Right now, though, want to revisit a story from our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network. Governor Landry and federal officials announced Camp J at the Angola prison. They announced that Camp J has been renovated to house what they're calling the worst of the worst criminal illegal migrants arrested by ICE. Landry says the facility fulfills the president's promise to make America safer.
By giving ICE a facility to consolidate the most violent offenders into a single deportation and holding facility.
I don't know why we're just bragging on the level of violence here. Like when LSU hits the football field, you want to have the best football team. When people come to the state, whether they're going to Cajun Country, Baton Rouge, or New Orleans, you want to have the best food available. Like we always want the best of the best. And now here we are, like, we're going to have the worst of the worst as well. The camp itself was built in 1976. State prisoners lived in solitary confinement there. Now, it closed in 2018 because it was deemed not safe or no longer a secure facility. Landry says they've renovated it. They got 51 illegal immigrants that have already been located there, and there's more on the way.
The idea is to prevent those worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens from continuing their criminal activities inside a criminal civil population. By congregating them here, we actually secure America.
We do. I want your feedback over on our Facebook Live presented by Lake Urgent Care. Do you like this idea? We were talking earlier about sending National Guard troops to New Orleans. I want to keep it on that safety front. Do you like this idea of housing ICE detainees at Angola? By the way, Deputy Director Madison Sheehan says this facility with the renovation looking nice.
So this facility will meet all of ICE's standards, including our standards to have attorneys available, and we have hearing rooms to be able to meet with your attorney as well as see an immigration judge with Department of Justice. We also have the law library.
Looking at about 200 detainees by mid-September and over 400 at the ICE Detention Center when all of the repairs are complete. Here comes news. Cool. We're going to do this day in history in the last segment of the show. I'm sorry, I didn't write that down this morning. I was moving faster than I should have been.
Renee says, I'm always suspicious of someone when it's 90 degrees outside and they have on a sweatshirt hoodie. Yes, every junior high and high school kid.
Yeah. What you say, Rich?
But no, I get what you mean. Like any adult wearing, yeah, especially with the hood on. Like, come on. A little sus. A little sus.
806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, JP producing. We have ticked up to 74 degrees in downtown to start off your third hour, which is going to be a guest-heavy third hour. David Cresson from Louisiana Chemical Association going to join us in our next segment. Emily Soulé from the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board at 8:35. We'll hit up this day in history in the segment where we normally have the outside in to close out the show. Because right now we're going to the hotline to connect with Kevin Teasley from Geo Academies, as they've had some huge news, and we want some follow-up on it. Kevin, how are you, sir?
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
No, glad to have you on. Big announcement, big ribbon cutting, big expansion of a partnership this week. Tell me all about it.
Well, it's a unique partnership that Geo Next Generation High School has had with Baton Rouge Community College. For the last 3 or 4 years, we've been leasing space at their main campus on Florida and Foster. But this year we expanded to the Acadian campus, and we've got 10 classrooms up there, the Acadian campus. And the reason we're at the Acadian campus, if you don't know, that is really where the career tech centers are for Baton Rouge Community College. So what we've decided to do, first of all, our mission is producing students who are either college credentialed or career credentialed before they get out of high school. And so if that's our goal, why not start them on a college and career campus while they're in our high school? And so we've got all of our juniors, all of our seniors, which is roughly about 250 students total, going 100% of their time and day at the Acadian campus for Baton Rouge Community College. That's for them to get both their high school courses, we provide the staff for that, and career and college classes. And they take those classes right alongside other traditional Baton Rouge Community College students. So they may be older students, but the students are able to see all of the various career opportunities that are available, such as welding, auto mechanics, culinary, nursing, you name it. Baton Rouge Community College is a terrific asset to Baton Rouge, and I just think the students get a lot of benefit from actually seeing what those classrooms look like. They don't look like traditional classrooms. They're real, labs, let's say. So students are using welding tools, auto mechanic tools, nursing, devices, et cetera. It's a very exciting opportunity for our students.
Yeah, it resembles the workplace a lot more than it resembles a classroom, to be sure.
Exactly. And what we're seeing is, 50% of the value of what we do is putting the students on a college campus. A lot of the students that we serve are first generation college going or career certification going students, and exposure is important, number one. Number two is belief in our students that they can do this. And I will tell you, 3 years ago, well, it's 2 years ago, I guess, in 2023, we had our first graduating class and 10% of our students earned a full associate degree before graduating from high school. I'm told that those are the first students in Baton Rouge, the city, to earn a full associate degree while in high school. That was in 2023. Two of those students, it was 10% of our class. We had 60 students graduate, so that was 6 students. 2 of those 6 already completed their bachelor's degree. It's only 2025.
Wow.
They've only been out of high school 2 years. And one got her bachelor's degree from Xavier. The other got her bachelor's degree from LSU Alexandria. Both are now fully employed. They're 20 years old, fully employed, with a bachelor's degree, and no college debt.
No college debt's a big part of this as well. I was gonna ask the follow up on that front, and that is a huge part of it. We're talking with the CEO of Geo Academies. Kevin Teasley's on with us as they've expanded their partnership with BRCC. Kevin, I've got to ask you about the logistics of this. High school load is pretty heavy as it is. How do you? Because this is like dual enrollment on steroids.
Exactly.
How do you make this work on the time frame that high school students are in high school?
Well, some of the things, the secret sauce is that we don't limit our students to a traditional school year. So the students who are taking and earning an associate degree, and I'm going to blow your mind here a little bit. We have another school in Gary, Indiana, and I believe it's the only school in the country where 4 students, not just one, but 4, have earned a full bachelor's degree before graduating from high school at no cost to them. We paid 100% of it, but they earned it. And they earned it from Indiana University, Purdue University. These are not, fly-by-night online schools. These are Big Ten schools that they're earning their bachelor's degree from. But the way they do it is, we don't have any time limit. So in other words, if over the summer, if students want to take college courses, we will pay for those college courses. And there's a lot of students who are, not going off to the Grand Canyon or Walt Disney World or whatever over the summer. They're right there in Baton Rouge community. They're not going anywhere. So they've got time on their hands and they want to do more. And so we empower them. We pay 100% of their college tuition, textbooks, we provide the transportation, and we do that throughout the year. There's a lot of dual enrollment, dual credit programs that high schools are doing. Many of those are doing them on their high school campus by a high school teacher who happens to have an accreditation. Nothing wrong with that, to teach college. But it's not the same experience that our students are getting where they're going to the college campus, sitting with, we may have a 16-year-old sitting in a room with a bunch of 22, 24, 25-year-olds, maybe even older. They learn a lot from the real college professor. And I like to tell people, when I went to college, sometimes I sat in lecture halls with 300 students. That professor did not know my name, did not know that I was even there. It was really up to me to be there and to get the information that I needed to get and to do the work. And there's a huge life lesson there. It's called time management. It's called self-discipline. It's called showing up and earning the grade that you get, not getting coddled by a high school teacher that says, you're going to get a little extra time. Our students need to understand what it's like to be in a real college and or career training program. You get the grade you earn. And they get that experience when they're doing that work at the college campus.
Got about 2.5 minutes left with Kevin Teasley, CEO of Geo Academies. Does anything fall to the wayside? I mean, even with the summer school, even with, not limiting yourself on time, does anything like, maybe electives get dropped or something like that? It's a full high school load and a college load.
Instead of taking trigonometry in high school, you take the college level course, and then you get the credit for at the high school level.
Yeah. So, I got you.
So you're not doubling up. You're not taking all the high school courses and then a whole bunch of additional college courses. There's a lot of college courses that count for high school credit. So instead of taking like Spanish 1 at the high school level, you can take Spanish 101 at the college level, and you get the high school credit and you get the college credit.
Love that.
Yeah.
I've got to ask about, is there a selection process here? Because this is a big bite of the apple for the student, at I will say a young age. I mean, it's where we need to be, Kevin. Don't get me wrong. But it is a big bite of the apple. It's a bold step. Are there, I don't want to say guardrails in place, but keeping kids from, having their eyes be bigger than what they can accomplish?
Well, number one, we're open enrollment. And so we don't have any test in to get into our high school. You do have to pass the entrance exam to get into Baton Rouge Community College to start taking college level courses. But all of our ninth graders, every single student that comes into our school at the beginning of the year, whether you're in ninth grade, if you're new to us, you take the Baton Rouge Community College entrance exam. We administer that test to see if you're already college ready. And of course, we're K-12, so a lot of our ninth graders have been with us since kindergarten. And so they are ready and prepared, and most of our ninth graders pass that test. And if they do, then we start them in like English 101, Math 101, et cetera, just traditional freshman level courses. If they're not ready, then we do the remediation to get them ready. And then we test them again at the end of the semester so that they can start taking college courses as soon as their second semester of their ninth grade. Our goal, as much as we love our students, is to get our students off of our high school campus and onto the college campus as soon as possible. And so even though we have juniors and seniors over at the Acadian campus full time, we also have freshmen and sophomores that are on our high school campus, but they may be taking 1 or 2 college courses already as well.
Unbelievably cool stuff. I'm going to want to follow up on this because this program is obviously going to grow. But we are just straight up out of time for this segment.
Sure.
Kevin Teasley, CEO of Geo Academies, thank you so much for a couple minutes.
I appreciate your time.
No,
Thank
absolutely. Thank you. Man, just think about where that can go. And when he brought up full-on bachelor's degrees up in Gary, Indiana, all right. We ran a little bit long there, so we got to take a quick break. Come back. David Cresson from Louisiana Chemical Association's next. Oh. One quick second. I'm good. You good? Awesome. Talk about the yeah. Which I feel like we recapped the session already. Yes, absolutely. So, have you and I talked about the health site, or was it somebody else I was talking to about? Okay. Keeping it moving here at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. It is 8:19. We are running a little bit long, so let's dive right in. David Cresson heads up the Louisiana Chemical Association. He's on with us now. How are you, David?
Good to be here, Brian.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Let's get that right there. All right.
Always good to be here.
No, glad to have you on here. We got some business to discuss from within LCA before we get out of here, but I want to start off with something that we touched on briefly, and I feel like it's hopefully picking up momentum because I've been hearing about it a lot more. Y'all put out a website called LouisianaHealthFacts.com.
We did.
And it basically, it's a refutation of the entire Cancer Alley theory. In fact, there's a little bit of myth busting in here as well. Tell me let's reset the table and talk all about it.
Yeah, so about a month ago, we launched LouisianaHealthFacts.com, and I'd again encourage your listeners to go check it out for themselves. And it is a compilation of health data from places like the CDC, the National Cancer Institute, the U.S. Census, Louisiana Tumor Registry, and others that kind of shines a light on the health outcomes in Louisiana, and specifically how the health outcomes in industrial parishes compared to those of non-industrial parishes.
Mm-hmm.
The industrial corridor from the mouth of the Mississippi River up here to towards Baton Rouge, and then you include some places like Calcasieu Parish. And what you find, and we talked about this last time, is that the health outcomes in those parishes where industry exists tend to be better than non-industrial parishes. And so the story's always been Cancer Alley, that the air quality's bad, water quality's bad, people are getting sick.
Right.
And the fact is, it's just not true. And so we've been around the state telling people this, showing them the website, and the reaction's been very positive.
When we talk about how the answer is just not true, does that mean you have fewer instances of cancer, or does it mean that the population there has gainful employment and healthcare benefits to help nip things in the bud, or is it a combination of the two?
Well, certainly I think one comes from the other, but just to give you an example, cancer, incidences of cancer in the industrial parishes in Louisiana is lower by 5.5% than it is outside the industrial corridor. Lung cancer, 20% lower. Cancer mortality, 7% lower. Life expectancy, longer. Diabetes is lower. Obesity is lower. Smoking is lower. Food insecurity is lower. Poverty is lower. All those things add up to better health outcomes for the state. Now, sure, people have good jobs. They have good health insurance. They have access to good health care. They're getting screenings earlier. All of those things are impactful when it comes to health outcomes. But the fact is, there's no way you can point to the presence of industry in an area and blame it for also there being a presence of poor health outcomes.
Well, sure there is. I mean, you see smoke in the air. Smoke is scary. That's look, there it is.
That's steam.
Yeah.
The water vapor.
I mean,
So-
but it looks the same. So, I'm scared.
yeah,
But
that's right.
I think it's important to get into the actual numbers here, because when you talk about the other overall extenuating circumstances, in fact, all the variables in the equation
Sure.
that add up to an individual's health, whether you're talking about, okay, so let's say they live in, I'm just going to randomly pick St. James Parish because there's a certain group that's very, very vocal out of there. Do they look at any other factor of family history?
Yeah.
Like, did they have cancer before? Do they look at their other health factors, like do they smoke? Are they actively exercising? What's their diet like? What's their level of obesity? Like, all these other factors go into it, but we only narrow down on one thing.
That's
and
right.
even still, the numbers don't bear them out.
Yeah, the moniker Cancer Alley was debunked back in the 90s, but it still persists today.
It's a catchy phrase.
It's catchy. It's used by people who either are trying to push a false narrative or are just too lazy to look up the facts themselves. The bottom line is that we're talking about an industry that provides 25% of the state's GDP, 20% of our state tax revenues, 20% of our state wages, and 300,000 jobs. They provide positive outcomes for these communities where they exist. They provide these jobs. They're providing the tax revenues, and at the same time, you're not seeing the negative health outcomes that have been so prevalent in the news cycle. And so, we are proud of this site. We'd like people to go take a look, make your own. Figure out what you'd like from the site.
Right.
But the fact is that when you compare the numbers, apples to apples, they just don't bear out the story that's out there.
When you look at the overall map of Louisiana, the two worst parishes for incidence of cancer are Cameron and Iberville. And Iberville would be considered part of that Cancer Alley. But the
yes.
surrounding parishes around Iberville have some, like St. John the Baptist is one of the lowest incidents per 100,000.
That's right.
And then, like, right next door in Ascension, also in that second lowest category. And if I'm not mistaken, it was St. James is in the second from the most. But when you look up and down Cancer Alley, it's so sporadic.
Yeah.
To have some of the lowest, some of the second tier lowest, to where it shows you in color, color coded, shows you that the numbers don't back up the hype.
The county health rankings, national county health rankings, have 1 through 65 in Louisiana, ranked by health outcomes. 5 of the top best health outcome parishes in the state of Louisiana, of those 5, 3 of them would be considered pretty industrial parishes. None of the industrial parishes fall in the bottom third of that ranking. And so again, it's not that certain parishes don't have some issues about certain health outcomes, but you can't point a finger at an entire industrial corridor and say that this is the reason for poor health outcomes.
No, and y'all break down more than that, though. You break
Oh,
down
yeah.
employment numbers as well, which
Sure. Higher in the industrial corridor.
employment numbers are higher in the industrial corridor. However, it's not susceptible to the river itself, because when you go upriver, the further upriver you go, the worse the employment gets.
No doubt. The delta up above kind of Natchez in Louisiana is one of the poorest parts of the country.
Yeah.
So naturally, you see poor health outcomes in that area. You see high poverty. You see low jobs, and so that's an issue that the state has to deal with. There's not a lot of industry there, and so you could say that part of why there's poverty and low employment is that there isn't a lot of industry there. And the state has a challenge there. We need to address those issues and try to figure out what we can do to help folks in that area. But the bottom line is, when you've got the Mississippi River from New Orleans all the way up to Baton Rouge, so many jobs, so much tax revenue, so much positive that comes from industry, to point a finger at that corridor and say that industry is causing poor health outcomes, just not true.
I want to make sure we manage our time, because we've only got about 3 minutes left here. But there's one more map that I want to look at, parish by parish map that I want to look at. We talked about rates of incidence of cancer, but we didn't talk about mortality rates. This is one of the things that stuck out to me, David, from this map was when you look at some of the parishes that have, they're in the second to bottom tier for cancer incident rates. They're on the bottom tier for cancer mortality rates. That kind of lends back to me, or at least my takeaway is, well, they had jobs, they have health care, they can see a doctor.
Yeah, they're able to, their insurance allows them to go see a doctor. Those parishes where they live have better health facilities, better health professionals, because they have good tax revenues that provide for that. And so, sure, one leads from the other. The ability to have a job, have insurance, allows you to get treatment.
Which includes St. James right there.
Sure,
so,
absolutely. Not just treatment, but also early screening, early detection.
Oh, early detection is the key with cancer. For every type of cancer out there, early detection is the key. And if you've got the health care plan, you're not scared to go. You're less afraid to go to the doctor. You're more likely to go to the doctor. You're more likely to get screened early.
No doubt.
So it's at LouisianaHealthFacts.com. Tell you what, I'll put the link to the homepage on our Facebook Live feed so that those who are over there right now could check it out, and those who want to check it out later have a place to go to as well. In the meanwhile, though, we got about 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
What's new?
Well, there's lots new. There's lots of good news going on around Louisiana when it comes to the, industry. We've got companies that are announcing big investments here, and all of that's very positive. But, we're also at a point where you got a special session coming up with the legislature. We're not hearing that there's going to be any crazy stuff when it comes to industry, but we've got to keep our eye on that. But we've got a lot of good news, but we've also got sort of this we're at a bit of an inflection point here in Louisiana. We're having somewhat of an identity crisis. We are a pro-industry state, right? We've got a pro-industry administration. We've got all these positive facts, whether it's the river or our workforce or our natural resources. All of these things point to a positive.
The ground underneath us.
Yeah, the ground underneath us. Gosh,
the ground a mile underneath us.
I heard you talking to Baton Rouge Community College. The community college system here in the state is really coming on and providing for workforce, our natural resources. But at the same time, we've got a legislature. Last year we had 130 bills that we were tracking, and about 125 of those were bad bills that needed to die at the legislature and never see the light of day. Fortunately, most of them did, but a few of them slipped through. We are at a point where boardrooms across the globe are looking at Louisiana and going, what's going on in Louisiana? Why, are they a problem child all of a sudden? And we've got a lot of good legislators, very pro-industry, but there's some stuff going on there that creates some concern.
And they're seeing a mixed bag here because they're seeing they're seeing like the announcements coming out of Ascension Parish and the LNG announcements coming out of Southwest Louisiana. But they're also seeing these proposed legislation that honestly to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, we've got tax policy.
It's written out of fear.
Yeah, that's right. Tax policy, legal issues, energy policy is becoming a challenge. And of course, carbon capture, which you and I have talked about. We've got to give some certainty to our environment here in Louisiana, make sure that companies that want to expand, want to make plans here in Louisiana, know where the goal line is going to be. And that goal line's been moving a little bit lately. We need to make sure that doesn't happen anymore.
How much of the anti-carbon capture sentiment is simply a matter of lack of education? Like, how much do you think that those who are very outspokenly against it, because they're loud, their numbers are small, but they're loud.
Yeah.
How much of that do you think can be remedied through like understanding what it is they're dealing with? Because they've, some representatives have been burned in the past on other things,
Sure.
so they have a built-in bias.
Yeah, how much? It's an interesting question because there is absolutely a faction out there who are out there spreading false information on purpose. I don't think that that's the majority, but I think it's a small but loud minority. And there are people out there that have real concerns, but I think those concerns come from the fact they just don't have all the information. So we're going to do our best to get it to them, make sure they understand this is safe and a wave of the future that Louisiana needs to be part of. If we're not, we're going to get left behind. So we're going to do our best to make sure people.
That's my mantra is I don't want Baytown 2.0. That's the every day that we fight is a day that we build Texas.
Well, and Texas, Michigan, Arkansas, Mississippi they're going to take this business if we're not careful.
Yeah. He's David Cresson, Heads Up LCA. We always appreciate the time.
Thanks, Brian. Good
Thank
to be with you.
Local news, traffic, weather. Talk with Emily Soulé from the school board next. Hey, kill the mics. 8:38, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to pivot. And this is just such a cool story that I can't wait to get into. Emily Soulé is with the school board, but here today on behalf of the Foundation for the EBR School System, because there's a fundraising effort going on right now called Band Together. Emily, tell us all about it.
Yeah, so Superintendent Cole came to me and asked if I would consider heading this up. He has been really focused on making sure that our high schoolers have the full high school experience, which I am all on board with. And these kids, there's 11 public schools in Baton Rouge with marching bands. And these kids in these marching bands are showing up early, staying late after school, showing up for pep rallies and for games and parades, anything that they can to showcase their gifts and their talents. And so we want to make sure that they have the uniforms to match that.
What do they have now?
Yeah, great question. So we have two high schools, Liberty High and Glen Oaks, that have no band uniforms. The other high schools have band uniforms, but they're old. So a band uniform lasts about 10 to 15 years. So this investment right now is actually one that the uniforms will last for a decade at least.
Yeah.
But the impact that you're having in a kid's life is, hard to measure.
Well, it is. And I'll dive deeper into this because when you put on that uniform, you're a part of something bigger than yourself.
Yes.
If you're out there in matching T-shirts, it's not the same thing.
Correct.
And if I'm not mistaken, so I've emceed the Battle of the Bands for the Cortana Kiwanis Downtown Christmas Parade, which unfortunately isn't happening this year. But I've seen Glen Oaks come through, and I've seen Liberty come through, and I've seen there's another school who, I don't know if you call them band uniforms, but they're in tracksuits, like Run DMC coming down the street. They're just, and it gets the job done. You could tell they are all one from the outside, but from the inside, it's not the same thing. Having full-on uniforms is no different than being on the football team or the basketball team. Look, I went to a high school. I went to a private high school, but I went to a high school where our band was serious business.
Yes.
We took our band very, very seriously, not just during the football games, but during Mardi Gras season as well. And it was something to be proud of. It's a point of pride. And Glen Oaks in particular, they've got some game.
Yeah, they do.
I don't want to put down Liberty because they played well as well.
Yes.
But Glen Oaks got some game.
Yes.
It needs to be surrounded, or it needs to be, that punctuation mark needs to be, they don't just sound good, they look good.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. These kids are talented. And so we want them to take pride in where they go to school. And our goal is to have new uniforms in so that when these kids march in parades this coming carnival season, they are walking with such pride in the work they've accomplished, the school they're attending. And so we think this is one step towards that.
What's our overall goal here? What kind of numbers are we putting on it?
Yeah, so it takes roughly $40,000 per school.
Okay.
And there are 11 schools. And one of the things I was thinking about this morning was how cool would it be if alumni from these schools were like, hey, I want to get involved. I want to help make sure that my school's band is showing off when I'm watching them come down for a parade. So Bel Air, Broadmoor, Capitol, Glen Oaks, Estruma, Liberty, McKinley, Northeast, Scotlandville, Tara, and Woodlawn. I'm calling out your alumni. Y'all come out, help us. You can go to foundationebr.org, donate now, and you'll see the band together right there.
How does that, okay, so an alumni from a particular school can direct the money to their particular school?
They can. So there's a note on there. So when you go to foundationebr.org, you can pick the band together. It'll say like donate. There's different options there. You pick band together, and then in the notes you can say, this is to help Bel Air get their uniforms. This is to help Woodlawn get their uniforms.
Are there individual events planned around this effort as well?
We're getting there. So we just kicked off this week. We have already started to get some donations in. We've had a few news stations go out and film some of the bands. We're hoping to bring in some businesses that are like, hey, we want to give back. We would love to have the bands come over to your place and perform and show off their talent. Amanda Martin, the founder of Studyville, she donated the first $25,000. As soon as Superintendent Cole announced it, she was like, hey, I'm in. I want the business community to see that I'm behind this. and to join me in it. So she kicked us off with 25,000.
Are there, look, I know the emotional end of it and I know the perception end of it. Are there numbers ends of it behind it as well when you talk about being part of the band and that contributing to your overall high school experience?
Oh, sure. So there's about 50 kids roughly per school that
Mhm.
are in the music part of the marching band, right? Which is what we're raising the money for. There's also the dance team and the flag team and all of these kids, and they are part of the full high school experience. The other kids that show up to watch the game, they're there to listen to the band.
Right.
They're feeling part of the whole experience off of what the band's playing. The football team, the basketball team, the pep rally, all of that gets its momentum from what the band's
No,
doing.
I think what I was asking was if you're a member of that band,
Oh,
does
sure.
it reflect in your performance in high school?
Oh, absolutely. So we have found that kids that participate outside of the classroom, that stay for after school activities or before school activities, they're more invested. So your grades have to stay up to participate in the school band.
That's what I
And
was going.
so when you are involved in this, you're invested and you don't want to get kicked out the band. So you're focusing on your grades, getting your grades up.
We got Emily Soulé with us for the EBR School Board, but here today on behalf of the Foundation for the EBR School System. When it comes to bringing together the dollars, well, let me pause real quick. Where can folks go if they want to donate?
Yeah, foundationebr.org.
Foundationebr.org. This is the Band Together EBR program that we're talking about here. Has this kind of effort have we done this in the past?
You know, that's a great question. Not since I've been around, which I know I'm still the newbie on the board. I'm the newest member. But we definitely haven't done anything for band uniforms because we don't have any that are worth using.
Well, and so you know that question was going to come up as well, is like, how is this not already part of the funding?
Right, cool. Yeah, great question. So the funding mainly goes into the classroom. A lot of the extracurricular things are funded by different grants or by different donations. And so this is how we're going about. Band uniforms are expensive. They're not something that a kid wears and then the kid keeps.
Right.
It's a property of the school. And so having the community come and be a part of this, knowing that these uniforms will be used for the next decade or more, it's really a community involvement opportunity.
I know this is thinking way beyond where we're at right now, but is there a way to make it kind of a rolling thing so that 10 years from now we're not in the same boat?
Great question. Yes. So that's actually part of what the foundation has looked at in their spreadsheets of our goals. The hope would be that once we raise the initial amount, the fundraiser would continue to stay open so that we can build up a pot as uniforms need to be fixed or replaced, so that we're not here again in 10 years looking for all brand new uniforms.
All right, so we got about 3 minutes left. I want to go ahead and I want you to reread the list of the schools.
Yes, sure.
Because it is important for those who have attended public school in Baton Rouge if you hear your school in there, like a DJ Drew Police song, if you hear your school in, that's the New Orleans reference, but if you hear your school in the list, you need to be top of mind with this. You need to be making an effort to make sure that this effort is a success overall. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I went to Baton Rouge High, so we didn't have the marching band, but man, I still remember them. I still remember seeing them at all the parades as a high school kid. And even still today, when those marching bands come down during carnival season, all the crowd gets excited. You're hoping they stop right in front of you to play. So
And
even if you're not
bring the horns. I don't want to hear just drum lines. Bring your horns or go home. No.
Right. You're like hoping they stop right there. So all of the community, like, let's have these kids in these uniforms for carnival season. But alumni, Bel Air, Broadmoor, Capitol, Glen Oaks, Estruma, Liberty, McKinley, Northeast, Scotlandville, Tara, and Woodlawn.
I want to broaden that out a little bit. Not just the alumni. If you shout out to good buddy Sarah Klein Peter who's listening right now. If you live in one of those neighborhoods, you want that as a point of pride as well. You didn't have to go to the school, but if you live in Tara, they need to be bringing it. If you live in Broadmoor, absolutely, the Bucks need you here. So it is a bigger point of pride as well. So
yes.
And by the way, speaking of Sarah, she says she just donated. So
awesome!
boom,
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Very cool stuff. The deadline here was what again?
Well, it's open.
Okay.
There's no official deadline, but the uniforms have to be ordered soon
Mhm.
in order to have them in for carnival season.
And for carnival season is what we're looking for before
Yes.
it's all said and done. All right, and give us the website one more time.
Yes, foundationebr.org.
foundationebr.org. We got 11 schools that are looking for band uniforms. And I mean, Emily and I ran through the whole list of why. It's not just about the confidence, it's about the importance. It's about the unity. It's about the extracurricular activity, creating more of a sense of pride in school and a sense of pride in community. And I don't know if you can show an ROI on a piece of paper of what pride and community means, but we know what it looks like when it's not there.
Yes, we do.
So
yeah, and these kids deserve it. They're working hard.
100%. I can't thank you enough for stopping by
Oh,
for a couple
thank
minutes.
you.
Let's keep this rolling and check in as we go along.
Yes.
To make sure we are getting somewhere. We got Your Money Now coming up in exactly 1 minute. I need to remind you about the folks over at 5 Star Printing and Signs. You want to talk about showing up and showing out? How about for your business? Is your business getting noticed? If not, why not? Are you not putting your best foot forward with, I don't know, the signage, maybe yard signs, banners? Maybe it's time to get that vehicle wrapped. 5 Star Printing and Signs can do all these things. Call my boy Danny over at 271-4096, 271-4096, or visit printshop5.com. Branding is so unbelievably important these days. Being top of mind, being front and center is unbelievably important. You know, slap your logo on something? Danny and his team can do that as well. Printshop5.com to find out everything that you can put your logo on. Move your branding forward. Get your business noticed. 5 Star Printing and Signs.
Okay.
All right.
What is your email for these?
Brian.Haldane.
What am I trying to say? These
Press
media
releases?
release. Yes. Brian.Haldane.
At guaranteemedia.com.
How do they not have that? Media.
Guarantee with a Y, by the way.
Oh, okay. Spell it Guar.
A-N-T-Y.
Thank you.
Yep.
Media.com. Okay. Got it. Thank you so much for fitting me in so quick.
No, of course, always.
I really appreciate it.
No, and this is a big deal. I think it's a bigger deal than people think. Because that
Yeah.
when you look at, and you know who needs to be on board with this? Sid.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
Okay.
So he just did our big jamboree out at Southern, the Battle
Yeah,
of Bluff, and he was out there, and so hopefully he'll be
Well,
talking
but
about it soon.
he above anybody else knows the importance of when
Man.
the students are involved.
Yeah.
Students are on the street team.
Right.
When students are involved, the students are taking pride,
Yeah.
and this gives him something to take pride in. And he also knows what it's like to come from an underfunded school.
Yeah, he does.
I mean,
Yeah.
Estroma, Redemptus, like
Yeah.
he's been there.
He's been there.
So-
Yeah. Yeah, he
And-
has been such a great support on
And
everything.
growing up in the New Orleans area, my St. Paul's Wolves were no St. Aug Marching 100, but we put on a show.
I know it matters.
It does.
Yeah. I know Lamont really wants these kids in the New Orleans parades, but right now he's like, I'm not sending them.
No.
The way they look.
No, because
Be
they,
embarrassed.
yes, they will. And New Orleans will let you know.
Yeah.
They're not ashamed to shame you.
But then if these kids get more invested, they get to bring more kids in. It's just gonna
Which, by the way, there's your answer right there for the how do you make this an ongoing thing? The New Orleans parades pay. Yeah. Yes. 856 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Going to get you to this day in history in just a second. Got to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's. Game day's coming up. Yes, we have our first opportunity to tailgate for the season, and Mathern's is your closest grocery store to Tiger Stadium, directly across Nicholson from Tiger Stadium. So if you're bouncing from tailgate to tailgate, they've got you covered. Just pop in for a couple cold beers. They've got them. They blow out the salad bar and put the beer there. They've also got, hot jambalaya ready for you. They've got all kinds of food ready for you. And if you're hosting your own tailgate, forgot something, they've got you covered there as well. They're in the Nicholson Gateway Shopping Center, directly across the street from Tiger Stadium. It's Mathern's. All right. This day in history. Let's go.
Back in time. All right, beginning in 1862, where General Lee begins the Maryland campaign, invading the North with 50,000 Confederate troops. Oof.
Okay.
Yeah. 1882, in its first large-scale test, Thomas Edison's light bulb is used to light New York's Pearl Street Station. So,
all right.
Yeah.
All right.
1888.
Public lighting. Gotta love it.
1888, George Eastman patents the first roll film camera and registers the brand name Kodak. Kodak, been around since 1800s. Wow.
Yeah.
1969, the film Easy Rider, starring Jack Nicholson, Peter Fonda, and Dennis Hopper, opened in London, England today.
She's an easy rider.
Yeah, there you go.
Should get a hold. Oh, no, that's Phil Collins. Never mind.
Hey, speaking of music, though, 1982, Survivor went at... they were number one on the UK singles chart with the theme from the Rocky III soundtrack, of course.
Eye of the Tiger.
Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah,
Yep.
we all know how that one goes.
Their only chart topper.
Glenn. No, that was the commercial. All right, go ahead. Way off.
Oh, man. 1998, Google is formally incorporated by Larry Page and Sergey Brin.
Mm-hmm.
Two students at Stanford University. Anything else on this day?
Yeah, this day in 1957, the Little Rock Nine attempted to attend Little Rock Central High School, and they were turned away. This day in 2005, the last of the buses got out of the Superdome. The last of the Hurricane Katrina refugees or evacuees were hauled out of New Orleans onto Points Beyond. Birthdays?
Starting off here, Damon Wayans.
All right.
I see Beyonce also has a birthday
I was going to say, Damon
today.
Wayans is an interesting place to start when Beyonce's on the list.
I mean, Damon Wayans greater than Beyonce anyway.
Wow.
But, it's just, that's just opinion here.
All right.
Henry Ford II as well today.
Yeah.
Comedian Whitney Cummings as well today. Anybody else on your end?
Yeah, I got a couple on my end. First of all, Paul Harvey. And now you know the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Vince Dooley and Mike Piazza.
Okay. Deaths here. I got Steve Irwin at the top of this list.
Oh, wow.
I know. Oof. Joan Rivers as well. Who else do you have?
That was it.
Okay. As far as National Days, National Wildlife Day.
We can go with that.
Yeah.
It is. Oh, we're done. Look at that. Moon Griffon's coming up next. Thank y'all for playing. We'll see you tomorrow. All right. Whew. Okay, Facebook. I'm supposed to be at LSU in like 5 seconds. Oh, it was on this day in 1920 that the Columbia Theater on 3rd Street opened.
Oh. Anything for Facebook? That was it?
Oh, yeah.
All right.